So this is a course of content that I've designed. So say for example, if you're going for 30 hours training session, so these all the topics that we will be deep diving in one by one, and which covers almost 80 to 90 percentage of the trace and Tosca automation knowledge. When I say 80 to 90 percentage, the remaining percentage that we are missing it on different domains or different technology automations. But when it comes to Tosca, trace and Tosca automations, all the functionalities or the features, options, everything we will be exploring here. Okay, so this is a generic course of content. So sometimes freshers or someone who don't have any experience from testing, someone might be in support or straight away from college, or someone from dev team or any other teams, they wanted to learn Tosca, so learn testing, and then wanted to be an expertise in automation. So we can just first session we will just generally talk about what is testing and how we will be doing it testing. Okay, so what is the role that a test team or QA team will be performing in an NES DLC methodology? In general, testing commonly used terms and concepts, and then we will be moving into automation testing. Okay, so what kind of automation that generally any project that they does. Okay, what are the candidates that we go for automation, how to identify in automation candidate or not automation candidates, and all this generally about automation. Okay, when I say generally about automation, nothing specific to Tosca. We'll just see what are the different automations available. We have functional automation, we have non-functional automation. When we have non-functional automation, it's performance testing, load testing, this stress testing, and all these other tools that is available in market, right? We'll just quickly talk about all that. And when we talk about all the different automations, then we will understand ourselves where we are falling and what are the automation that we are doing. We will get more clarity by doing so. Okay, then when we know what is testing and what is automation testing, and then what is the tool that we're going to learn, that is trace and Tosca for every project, for any project. Okay, so just say consider if you are being an automation lead or automation architect, when you identify a tool, see there are a number of automation tools available in the market. On what basis you will identify a tool that perfect fit for your project? Say you have selected Tosca and you will be automating your application or your project using Tosca. Then why Tosca? What is the advantage that you are getting in Tosca over other tools? Say we have Selenium and UFT also that also performs the same functional testing automation. Why are we selecting Tosca? What is the current market? When it comes to market, as for us as a job seekers or who is looking to take their career to next level from functional tester to automation testing, or from other domains or for other developers or support team, they wanted to excel themselves as in Tosca automation from career perspective. And when it comes to market with Tricentis Tosca automation perspective, so that is also we'll be talking about. And what are the different tools that is available in the market? So we can just quickly touch about what are the different tools that is available in market and what are the advantages and disadvantages of each tools. Obviously, yes, when we say Tosca, I also won't say it is an 100% perfect automation testing tool for any kind of automation. Okay, so Tosca also has its own advantages and disadvantages as well. So first couple of sessions would be general discussions where we will be talking about testing and automation in general. And then from our third session, we are jumping into tracing this Tosca architecture and the components. Okay. See, tracing this Tosca of architect or framework, it is it has multiple components. Okay, just imagine in this way, in your application, maybe say for example any Amazon or Flipkart e-commerce application, what we see is just the UI. Okay, we will just launch our mobile application or Amazon web application just by hitting the URL. You can see the application UI. Okay, but that is not the only uh, only application, right? So it has its own upstream application, downstream application. It has its own architecture from where there will be a pool from where the products will be pulled. There will be a pool from where customers will be pulled in, and the usernames and passwords, orders, order history. A lot of things are there. So likewise, Tricentis Tosca also it has its own components in it. Like we have like we have executor, Tricentis Tosca commander, Tricentis Tosca repository, DB validator, file operations. For all the operations that Tosca does, it has its own components. So I will take you through the architecture and we'll just discuss. Say, for example, if you want to run an automation test script, what are the different components that help Tricentis Tosca tool to execute any script and produce a report? So kind of complete end-to-end architecture we will be discussing about. By end of this session, you will understand what are the different components available within Tosca and what all the purpose that serves. Say, if I say Tricentis Tosca commander, so commander is a heart of Tosca. Okay, everything, the scripting that you do, the execution that you do, everything, the user will be, the automation tester will be interacting with Tricentis Tosca commander. Like this, we can get the components, different components, and the engines, HTML engine, T-box engine, classic engine, database validation engine, and different engines also will be available, and we can just deep dive into that when we are into that session. Generally, you can just take it as we will be discussing about this Tosca architectures. Okay. Any questions so far?
No.
Uh, Arjun, I have one question.
Mm-hmm.
Um, is there any advanced session like advanced Tosca training plan?
So, what are the content that you are expecting as part of Tosca advanced training session?
Like Dix implementation, fire event, user simulation, Tosca CI, OSV, orchestrated service visualization, Tosca
Okay.
ARA. What
See,
are the
Tosca
things?
server,
Dix
CACD
management.
implementation, DEX implementation, all these are is specific to organizations. Okay, when you say CACD and DEX implementation and all, you need to have the CACD platform just to integrate and just train it. So I don't think you can get all these topics in training sessions anywhere. Not only in HKR, nowhere this can be taught because these concepts are more into corporate level. Okay, say you are working as part of XYZ organization where you will have the CACD bid. When you say CACD bid, the CACD platform where we can just explain you how to onboard your trace and stores into CACD platform and complete it. And same simultaneously for Tosca server or Tosca DEX and all this. So this is, I would say, this training is for beginners who don't know Tosca, who's like just they completed AS1 and AS2 certification and they wanted to learn Tosca and they wanted to be an individual contributor, right from writing the scripting and executing
Hmm.
and just delivering the report.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like this is the generalization where one can start how to build and to make test cases from scratch and everything. So what the
Exactly.
advantages like Tosca's automation tool advantages are there. It's like test management, bulk update functionality. So bulk update, how we update the things, like how we update the module attributes, how we cope up with the changes when there is certain changes in the web application, how to deal with such scenario, how to debug the things, how in certain things we got failure. Okay, in Scratchbook or anywhere in the execution, what we say execution module.
This all,
So
yeah, I
these
mean,
all
yeah, I
things.
got your point.
Uh,
Yeah, so this discussion would be specific to you. Okay, so when you say bulk update and all, we need to interact with TQLs. If you have such questions, if you wanted to discuss, we'll definitely have one-on-one session, but that would be specific to you, not open for all the other trainees, because they are just getting started, right? So should not put more content,
Yeah,
or
that's what I asked.
should not
That
get
is
more
there any
information.
advanced session or something? Okay, we'll connect one to one,
Maybe, yeah,
Arjun.
you
No
can check
issue.
with HKR associates, and they can just let you know if there is any advanced session that they are planning.
Okay, sure, Arjun.
Thank you. Okay, so moving on to other topic, that is modules. Okay, so before I talk more about modules, just think or just imagine in layman terms. Okay, you just imagine there is a third-party tool called Trace Tosca, XYZ tool. Okay, that you wanted to interact that particular third-party tool with your project or with your application, be it web application or Windows-based application. Okay, so to get it automated, first of all, the third-party automation testing tool should read your application. Okay, say Tracing this Tosca, you wanted to automate Amazon application. When you prepare a POC and when you wanted to automate Amazon application, first you need to check if the third-party automation testing tool is compatible with the Amazon website. When I say compatible, just the Tracing this Tosca tool have to or should be able to interact with the application. Say you wanted to enter username and password and clear the login authentication. Okay, just to automate this login scenario, you need to instruct Tosca as a third party tool. Instruct Tosca, just write some scripts and just apply the username XYZ in username field and password 123 in password fields and click on login. Okay. If someone is not talking or if you don't have any questions, please go and mute. So to perform any action on your application, first of all, Tosca should read it. Okay, Tosca should know, hey, this is the username field where I wanted to enter the test data. Hey, this is the password field where I wanted to enter the password value. Okay, how you will instruct Tosca to identify these input boxes. So that is where this module is coming in. Okay, you will just scan the module. When I say module, you will just scan the control, the web element available on your application. Okay, you will identify it uniquely. By doing so, you are telling Tosca that, hey, there is a input button in the web application. Just scan it, just create a module and just keep it with you. When I say module, it is a readable format of Tosca. Okay, so this is how you are just creating the integration between the third-party automation tool with with your application, web application that you wanted to automate. So this concept, irrespective of tool, even if you're going for UFT automation learning also, the object identification remains same. Any automation tool that you want to check the compatibility or if the tool is able to interact with the application that you want to automate. In Tosca, we are calling it as modules. What is modules? The web element or the control available for under automation. You are just identifying that particular control using scanning method, and you are converting that web element into a module attributes and modules and saving it in trace and Tosca. Getting it? Okay. So there are different ways of identifying this object identification. Okay, say for example, you have just think through the web elements that you know. When I say web elements, what are the different web elements that you can see it in your web application? Input box, checkbox, text box, drop down field, or list box. All these are web elements, right? So all these different web elements we can identify using different object identification method that is available in Tosca. say identify by properties, identify by index, identify by anchor, identify by its parent, identify by its image. These are the different object identifications methods. So when you say you know everything in module section, when you know how to scan a control from an application and create it as a module, when you are comfortable with this process, you can say you are 80 percentage an automation resource. So we will be spending more time on how to scan and identify a control in a proper standard method. Okay. So like Tracent is also giving you some of the modules for the repeatedly using module for common functionality. Say for example, as soon as you enter your username and password, click on login, it will take 3 or 4 seconds or 5 seconds to load, take and clear the authentication and load your home screen or dashboard screen. Okay, you want to ask your script to wait for a particular time. Say it is 5 seconds or 3 seconds or 10 seconds based on your internet connectivity or based on the application load. So this time will get very right. Say if you're in another automation, say consider if you're in a Selenium automation resource, for each and every action you need to write your automation scripts. But here, for the commonly used functionalities, Tricentis Tosca itself has already created a modules. As part of your installation package itself, you will get all that. Say launching a browser. Okay, you wanted to launch Internet Explorer or Google Chrome. Be it any application, web application automation, launching a browser with a specific URL is your precondition. That is needed or common functionality for all the application automations. So why to waste automation testers effort by duplicating the work? Instead, Tricentis itself has created a standard module and they will give it to you. You can just drag and drop that module into a test script section. You can just enter your URL and mention some action methods, and you can just, when you execute that, browser will launch with the specified URL. So we have a number of standard modules. So we'll just, when we are into this section, we will just deep dive into and we'll just explain almost, I will try to cover most of the commonly used standard modules, how to use it and how to create scripts using those modules. Okay, any questions before we move on to the next topic? All right. So as I said, when you are comfortable in creating a modules, so almost you can say you are 70 to 80% of an automation tester. Okay, so for this particular training, we will be more into web application automation. So that is the reason there is another dedicated topic that I've included to discuss or to automate the different web elements. Okay, so sometimes you will face challenges in identifying drop downs, checkboxes, or divs, spans, or buttons. A lot of other web elements are there, right? So I can just explain you how to scan different web elements and how to create scripts for that. Moving to the next topic, Tosca standard module section, T-box and classic. So this is the standard module that I've been talking about as part of this particular topic. Okay, so when I say standard modules, Tricentis itself has created and you will get that as part of your installation, the set of commonly used functionalities. For now, you can just forget about this, what is T-box and classic. Okay, there is nothing much difference. So it's a T-box engine, it's a TC classic engine. Classic engine, it's a quite um, older one. When I say older one, this was then modules that has been created using VB scripting in the initial days of Tracendis, initial versions of Tracendis Tosca. T-box engine is the recent version that we have, that Tracendis is creating modules using C#. So we will be mostly using, recommended to use T boxes only. This will be this is the latest module, so the speed and the efficiency, everything will be good in using T box engine. So we can just talk more about all these different engines. Now here the comes topics test scripting. Okay, so consider you wanted to automate one login functionality. Okay, so you have already created a module for a module attribute for username field, module attribute for password and login button, and all this. You have the module created already and that is available in Tosca. Test scripting is as simpler as like just drag the module and drop it in your test script section, test case section. You can just create one test script and then drop the module into test script. That particular module will convert as a test step. Okay, you can just specify what is the username XYZ. You can just enter password and the action mode, whether you want to give that as an input, or you wanted to click on something, or you wanted to select something, or you wanted to verify something, or you wanted to verify buffer something. All these action modes you need to you need to mention. Say the same example, login functionality, username, the value should be the username, the password value should be the password XYZ. What is the action mode? We wanted to just input the credentials in the web application. So the action method should be input. After entering username password, and you wanted to click on login button. So what is the action that you are performing here is just a click. So you need to select click. Okay, and the click is also an input because we are just passing the particular input to the application. So this is all about test scripting. Okay, as I said, when you are comfortable with the modules, you can, I mean, it's very simple or very easy to design your test scripts. So we have different conditions, if else, and loops, for loop. Sorry, for loop is not applicable in Tosca. So do while, all this. Any questions still test scripting? All right. Test case design approach. Okay. So there are, I can see, you can see two topics here, right? Test case design approach and TDM approach. So these two are so here you can we were discussing about test scripting. These two topics will discuss and will give you an clarity how you gonna structure the framework of the script that you're gonna do it. Okay, test case design approach is where you will be creating one test sheet. I mean, I'm not talking more technical terms, but not going into detail because you, since you have not seen Tosca screen, you may not be able to correlate what I'm talking. But maybe you can just take it in this way. Test scripting is how you do your test scripting. TCD and TDM is how good you are preparing your test script. What are the ways of applying the test data? How you are designing the script, from where you are creating the instances. Say you have 10 test scripts. So you would have heard about this data driven and keyword driven automations and all, right? Somewhere close to that. You have 10 automation scripts. Okay, the flow of the all the 10 test script remains same, but the end validation, the outputs might different. So you wanted to just verify that particular output. So instead of creating or duplicating the same step for all the 10 test scripts, you can just create one test sheet and you will have one instances and template and all these blah blah things, and you can just create one single script. You can use the same script across all the 10 automation scripts and get your task done, the end-to-end flow automated. It's a kind of frameworks or the design of your test scripts. Okay, so till this we have completed. We know what is testing, we know what is automation testing, why we are choosing Tosca and all these things. And introduction about Tosca. We know how to create modules and different elements, web elements available, and what is standard modules, T-box, classic engines, test scripting, inputs, action methods, conditions, how good we are preparing test scripts, TCD, TDM, and all this. Okay, so beat any technology or any domain, these concepts remain same. Module creations, standard modules, scripting, TCD, TDM. The same approach we can implement it in web application automation, Windows automation, API automation, or database validation, or whatever it is. SAP, Salesforce, any kind of automation. Okay. As part of this training, I will just explain you how you can perform database validation. Say you have some SQL query. After creating an order, say you wanted to create one or place an order. After placing an order, you wanted to see if the particular order has been created in database and get the tracking ID. You can just select star from order ID equal to 123 from particular orders table. So you can just have to execute the particular SQL statement, and you can just verify whether the entry has been created in database or not. And file operations, we know we most of our applications are we will be handling with Excel, right? So how we can read the data from Excel, how we can read data into Excel, um, perform some validations and all this. And same for PDF and notepads also. Test case section. Okay, so this is something we have already talked about modules and test case sections, and requirements and execution section we can just cover it. So in tracing this, Tosca have majorly the 4 different sections. We have test case design also, and other modules, but that will be covered as part of other topics discussions. Mainly here as part of this session, Tosca sections, we will be talking about how we can create a specific requirement, how we can link that into modules, test cases, and executions, and how we can get the traceability created. Okay, and best practices. So best practices and standards. See, anyone can do automation when you understand how to create modules and how to create scripts. Okay, you can say you are an automation resource, but over the time, okay, just for beginners, it's okay. You can just learn and just do automate and just complete it. But when you wanted to get matured as an automation tester, you wanted to learn and implement best practices. See, anyone can write codes, even if it is any developers, okay, Java, .NET, or whomsoever is creating or development applications. One resource, one developer will create the same application. After entering username and password, clicking on login, authentication will get the authentication cleared, and it will move on to the dashboard screen. Maybe fraction of seconds, half seconds, or 1 second or 2 seconds. If the same development, some other developer who is not following the standard, who is not good in coding, definitely after entering the username and password, the authentications will be validated and it will move to home screen or dashboard screen. But how speed that program is getting compiled and how it is getting executed? What are the standards? Can someone easily crack it, or can someone easily hack it? All these things are all these external factors are there, right? So I have some good practices, or I know the standards. What are the standards that we can follow when you are preparing your scripts and when you are more creating your modules? I can just, as and when we come across all these situations, I will keep on sharing the best practices. So the script should be more dynamic way. Okay, when you are preparing any script, it should not be more into the scenario perspective. It should not be more into the particular flow perspective. You should think wider and just try to implement as I mean, your script should be as good as it should not break in any other environment. And this practice and QA session, maybe the last 2 or 3 sessions, we will be dedicatedly will be I mean we will be hand over the machines to the participants, and they will be having an hands-on script creation in Tosca machine. Okay, see, when I mean you would have heard about it, okay, before joining. I mean, when you chose Tosca to learn it, people will easily say Tosca is a very simple automation testing tool. You need not to know any coding or any prior coding experience or any Tosca experience. I would also say Tosca is very easy to learn. Okay, but when you put your hands down in automation and just when you have this hands on, you will not be able to understand the concepts. Okay, if it is coding, you have this oops concept, all these things, and you know it. When you know the concepts, you can automatically start writing your scripts. But whereas in Tosca, say for example, launching the URL, okay, I'm telling you, it's just simple drag and drop of a module and just enter some values and just execute it. This is how I explain. But if someone is newly getting into Tosca automation and they want to launch the browser, first of all, they should know there is a standard module who can help us in launching the browser. Okay, where it is available. Just drag and drop that in test case section, and you can see 3 to 4 components in it. Where to enter the URL, what should be the action mode. If I wanted to get some URLs dynamically, if I don't want to every time I don't want to log in the same application, how can I mention it dynamically, and how can I clear the cache before I launch the browser. All these things, it's a standard process. Until unless you learn it from trace, or if you're learning exploring it and learning it, there is no specific source for you. Okay, whereas it's coding, if you know, like, you can just write your code, just create your scripting, and you can just done it and just throw it away. But Trace Tosca has its standard process to follow. So until unless you have this practice session, definitely it's gonna be tricky for you. So that is the reason we will be dedicatedly spending time and handing it over the mission to them, and we'll just ask them to create a kind of assignments, we can see. I will just give you the scenario to automate it. You can just need to automate and just deliver it to me.